Hello, thank you, welcome back, and I'm trying to get comfortable. I should have done that before I even pressed record, but anyway, my cat is watching me, looking at me as I'm talking to myself, and oh no, he's looking at the camera, and now he's looking at the bird. Okay, so anyway, mister. There was a lot I want to talk about. A lot of things I want to go through, like the mangas I'm reading, the ones that are on hiatus. Well, African novels, webtoons, that's on hiatus. There's ones that I'm not sure is on hiatus, or I gotta find the raws, and then because I'm finding translations, or yeah. And then I also want to talk about these shows I just recently watched on Netflix, or just came out on Netflix. I'm like, I just want to talk about so much. So I decided finally I want to talk about Dead Boys Detectives this time. Just Dead Boys Detectives. And before I talk about it, because it's been a while since I watched it, I did just watch a little bit before I even hit record the first 4 episodes. I'm not even sure. Are you looking at me or are we looking down? I'm just not sure. Anyway, Mister, is he looking at me? Mister. Okay, he's not. He's ignoring me. So, the Dead Boys Detectives, first of all, the premise. What is it about? It's about these, dead boys, literally dead. They're ghosts. Going around solving these cases, paranormal cases, unsolved cases that cannot be solved by the police. Either they're already dead or they are people who are alive and about to die. I just rewatched the first 4 episodes. There's 8 episodes, and like usual, they're about roughly an 8 hour long. A little bit less, actually. They're like 40 minutes long episodes, but they're really intriguing and really nice. I really enjoy it. So, we're going back to the premise, specifically about this show. This show started in England, and then then they move a shift to English, to America. To America, and start solving mysteries there. And the reason why they went there is to solve one of the mysteries of a missing girl.
Hello, Editing Gabriella here, and I just want to jump in because the way I described the show was terrible. Okay, so yes, there are mysteries of the week. In the forefront, that's what is going on. Matter of fact, it opened with them in the middle of a kind of a mystery, quote-unquote mystery. Supernatural mystery, of course. It's in the title Dead Boys Detectives. And then in the full episode, there's 2 more mysteries that's going on. One of them is with the missing girl, and the other one is a demon possession. And after they got the demon out, she is missing her memories. It's basically that. But in the background, there's other things going on. For example, the girl getting her memories back. She sticks with them throughout the rest of the show. And throughout the show, she's trying to get her mystery back. The boys are trying to hide from death. They do not want to go to hell or heaven. They don't want to move on. They still want to stick to earth. That's going on. And then another thing going there has the big bad of the show that they have to deal with at the end. So all that is going on. That needs to be resolved by the end of the show. So basically, that's the whole show in a better concept than what I explained earlier. I'm so sorry.
And that's how they led to the mystery of the girl who, although is labeled missing, is still alive. So there's excuse me. So that's one of the characters. As I said, then they moved to I won't say Japan, America. Oh my gosh, I need to get this together. Anyway, they moved to America. As I was saying, this show is really intriguing, and they set things up, especially at the very first episode, that's what I was trying to get to, where they set up a lot of things, one after another, of how they came to America, why they're still in America, and things probably will happen down the future, and how that will be problematic, and so on and so forth. So it was really good at the setup. And then as I said, as you go through each episode gradually, there is payoffs, and there are also more setups. So I really love that. It's really interesting just as a mystery show, and then also as a paranormal show. It's not as I don't know how to say it, but basically there's not too much CGI. So if you're bothered by CGI, don't worry about it. There's not too much of that. I do like their mix of practical effect and CGI. The practical effect is not actually that bad either. There's not too much of either one. Because I think all those multiple paranormals was like you could see them. They look like actual humans, except when they had to walk through walls, and they use CGI for that. But as I said, it's not. It doesn't disconnect you. It doesn't bother me when I'm watching, so it doesn't pull me out of the story, which happens when I'm watching too much CG. It's like a show or a movie that has too much CGI or really terrible CGI or really obvious CGI. It pulls me out. Again, the CGI is definitely obvious, but you know it's also paranormal, so it's like some disconnect, and they don't always use it. It's not used too much. It's not overbearing, I should say. So that's one thing. Also, the characters.
Hello. So one of the things I wanted to do is to introduce the characters, which I think I did earlier, but I didn't do it well. So I want to do it here in the middle of the video ish. So starting with the main characters, and I'm also going to introduce the actors who play them too. So I'm going to say the character's name and the actor's name. Please excuse me ahead of time if I mess up any of these names. Okay, starting with the main characters. Edwin Payne, who was played by George Rex Strew. Then there is Charles Rowland, played by Jaden Revy. Then there's the one whose name I keep forgetting, Crystal Palace, played by Cassius Nelson. And then there's Nico, played by Yuyu Kitamaru. And then there is side characters, Jenny the Butcher, which is, as his name stated, is a butcher, but she's also the landlord, the people that Crystal and Nico had to pay rent to, played by Brianna Kuko. Then there is the Cat King played by Lucas Gage, and then there is the main antagonist, Esther, played by Jen Leon, and then I guess also second antagonist, the night nurse, played by Ruth Conwell. So that's the cast. There probably is more. There definitely is more that I'm not mentioning, but yeah, but those are the main ones I mostly probably talk about in this video. Okay, so
I really do love the characters. The chemistry is beautiful, is on point with all the characters and the new characters, the side characters. For example, one of the characters that they meet, because when they move kind of move to New York, not New York, America, and they moved to America. They met these people who, they met one of the people they meet. Well, of course, is gonna be her landlord because she needs a place to stay. So it's a landlord, and there's only two people that stays there. So, and one of the other people that they help and become friends with is her neighbor Nico, and she also later on helps him in investigations too sometimes. But yeah, so they all have a really great chemistry and they play off one another really well. The actors, I really love it, and you could tell just from like the beginning. What do you call it? What's his name? Edwin. Who's Edwin's is in love with. And then you can also see the chemistry between the flirtatious play between Charles, which is the other dead one, and I forgot her name already. Yeah, don't ask me for my names. For some reason, I can't remember her name. I remember Nico. I remember Edwin. I remember Charles. I just can't remember her name, which is really weird. And she's one of the main characters. She sticks around a lot. I don't think they say her name a lot. Weird enough. Okay, anyway. So the one that they were helping with because she lost her memories due to the demon possession. And while that's also going on, she's also trying to struggle to get her memories. By the way, the demon still has it. Not too much spoilers, by the way, because it tells in the beginning of the episode, the very first episode. Anyway, so that's it.
Okay, as I wrap it up and about to end, I just want to throw in here some things that I've been thought about, especially after multiple reviews. So, first thing first is my favorite ship, which is between Charles and Crystal. I love their chemistry so much. They hit it off at the very first episode, and one of the main reasons, and probably yeah, main reason I wanted a second season is because I want to see their ship or their relationship develop and continue. Even when they argue and come back together, they're always how they're there for each other, forgive, talk it out, all that stuff. Really love it. Maybe it's just me. It could probably be just me. And then my least favorite ship is between George and Lucas. They hit it off terribly at the beginning. It being Lucas or the Cat King. Sorry, I'm naming the actor. Oh my gosh, Cat King and Edwin. As has the Cat King was trying to coerce Edwin into a relationship and force him by keeping him there and locking up. You see, this is why I say he's relevant. Keeping him there and locked up, and so in the not locked up in like a cage, but in the vicinity. And despite there being danger in that same vicinity with Esther, um, like life threatening. So yeah, and so in the end they did get up together, and I didn't care for it. I just wish it was something else, anyone else. Honestly, I prefer him with Monty, even though Monty turned back into a crow. Sorry, spoilers. So that is that. And then moving on to my other thing that I really noticed, but again on multiple viewing, and I appreciate it, is the choice of the setting design and costume design, especially how much it shows the characters, especially how, like, for example, Esther, going back to the beginning, my favorite thing about the thing upon multiple viewing is the set and costume design. It really shows how much they put into the characters and the sets, especially in multiple viewing. I really love how it shows the characters. For example, with Crystal, even though you don't remember her memories, she's always dressed fashionably. Whereas, for example, Nico is very cute and very much pink. And it shows also in her room, where her room set design is full of a lot of things that's dedicated to love and hearts and pink. Whereas Crystal apartment is very sparse, and you can also reflect in that she doesn't even remember herself, so everything is very sparse, or it's just like essential only. And then even going with the ghost, where like Edwin, he dressed in someone who like old 1920s or 30s, whereas Charles dressed more in like the 80s. That's because that's when they were dead or died. So there's those things. So just things that pops out in my mind. Also, I also give an honorable mention to the night nurse office. It looks very, I wouldn't say canonical. I don't think that's the right word. I'm not giving the right word for these, but I do enjoy it, and I do like how it looks, and it gives an idea of the setting and the people. So there you go.
About the premise, but how I personally feel. My personal feeling is that I really, really love the show. As I said, I'm hoping for a second season, and I even looked it up to see if there's a possibility, because I feel like this is one of those. What's the other one I watched? Lockwood and Co. I love that show, and I feel like this is gonna be one of those Lockwood and Co.'s where it has a really good build up. It gives you some idea of a possibility of a second season, and there's none. That's why I'm feeling about this one. And when I looked it up, I was shocked to find out that this is actually a branch to the Sandman series. Not just the series, but also the comic book, because I didn't even know there was a comic book. I don't even read this comic book. And so if you're worried about not being able to enjoy it because you don't read the comic book, that's okay. I don't read it at all. And matter of fact, I only found out it was based off a comic book after I looked it up to see if there's going to possibly be a second season. So if you don't know the comic at all, that's fine. I do recommend to give it a watch. If you're into paranormals or mysteries or both, I highly recommend. Anyway, and if you want to see a little romance, I definitely say yes, give it a watch.
Yo, Smalls, turn up, I'm